want a bit of a distance away from where the game be on today. I was going to say Wembley at the King Power in Leicester. Kick-off 5 o'clock. It's the two biggest transfers of the summer so far that'll go head-to-head. Darwin Núñez and Haaland. Possibility we mightn't see Darwin Núñez today, or even Haaland, starting. I don't know what will happen with City. I did see earlier this week, Kev, that City have only played 2 pre-season games, only 21 players involved, had a few injuries. We know Haaland scored against Bayern. They played, was a Club America in America. Yeah. So they haven't been really up to much through pre-season, obviously apart from training and travelling. Where we've had more pre-season friendlies, we've had a lot more travelling from Bangkok to Singapore to Germany to Austria. The team only come back yesterday evening and then were straight to Leicester then on a flight and stayed there last night. And today it'll be just the match preparation, bit of rest and go at it again today. We've won 15 community shields / charity shields. Some of them were shared because in the games years ago used to be draws, they would have been shared. Yeah. Does today's game matter, Kev, to you, or it is a curtain raiser, but it's a competitive friendly in my eyes, really. But what I'm going to get into what I think about it. But what do you think about today's game, and is it important?
Ask me at 7:15.
Okay.
It's one of those. If you want, first and foremost, it's the only game of the season that you want to be in. You're desperate to be in this game at the start of every season because you've either won the league or you've won the FA Cup. So
yeah,
for anyone for any of the other clubs trying to banter you about it, well, the only reason they're sat watching it at home on ITV is because they didn't win anything.
That's true. Yeah.
That aside, it's minutes, it's preseason, you want to start seeing. We're a week away from the league now. So this time next week we'll have our first game played. We've just finished our first game in anger. So you want to be seeing, if not your main 11, probably your main 8 or 9, and you want to see fluidity in that. And there's no tougher opponent than the side we're coming up against. And granted, they've only played 2 preseason games. Their squad is wafer thin at the minute, but we couldn't ask for a harder test, and we need it. There's no doubt about it. Some of the performances in preseason I thought have been good. We've dominated games. We just haven't been clinical, which is match sharpness. It comes, but I just want to see something today that gives you a buzz. Whether that's in the lineup or whether it's a flash of brilliance or a clean sheet, just something. But you need to be starting to see where you're going to be in the season now. This is the curtain raiser for the season. It is a friendly, but at the same time, if you're in it, you want to win it. I'm not out with this kind of game anyway.
I agree. It's Man City. They're a rival now to us, whether people want to like it, lump it, or accept it, whatever. But City it's Liverpool and City, the 2 best teams in the country in the Premier League in the last couple of years. Look, City are current champions, so we'll give them that. Liverpool's a great chance for some of these young players that will play a part today, like Carvalho, Núñez, I'm sure will all play a part. Whether they start, I'm not so sure. But it's for them to make some sort of statement. You're playing the best team in the country, go out and prove a point. I think, I did mention at the start of this a couple of minutes ago, Darwin against Haaland. Darwin won the big transfer signed to the summer, same with Haaland. I think it's a great chance for Darwin today if he does get a chance to get in behind City on that counter-attack, because the pace he has. We've seen Jota in the past having chances and getting in behind City and wasn't as clinical. If he does, he could be. But it's a chance today for Klopp and Pep Linders to say, look, lads, go out. Let's prove the train, the hard work we've done the last 4 weeks. It seems like we've done a little bit more than City on that. But all that goes out the window today, Kev. It's who goes out today, who's the stomach for it, who actually does want to win and make that early mark in the season. And I think there's a lot of players in this Liverpool team, and even Firmino will be one of them, that will have some statement to make to try and be involved at the start of the season and to try and get a place in that starting 11, because we've loads of options now. Like I've seen in the pre-season, in some pre-season games, we used 32 players. Now, a lot of the young flits and a lot of the youth players, you might not see them play again for Liverpool, and you won't see some of them till next year. They'll be loaned out, they'll be playing with the under 23s, what have you. They're not going to get near the first team. But there are some of them in there, the likes of Elliott, Firmino, well, you know, he's not young, and you have like what I mean by Firmino is he's a chance today. He kind of got forgotten about towards the end of last season. With Jota, with Mane playing as a number 9, with obviously Salah. Well, not so much Salah, but Diaz was flying for Mane weird as well. But with Salah was always going to get picked because of the pedigree he has, how good he started the season. And I know he died off a bit towards the end of last season. But I think it's a great chance for Bobby to come in. And there's obviously rumours of him being linked to Juventus. We don't want him to go and stuff. And I don't think he's going to go. And then the same for, and then we're just after bringing in Nunes along with Jota. With Bobby there, there's competition there, you know. So I think it is a chance today, but the result doesn't mean much today. I think it's all about what you get out of it, who plays, who's put a marker down, really. Because the last time we played City in the Charity Shield or the Community Shield, we didn't win it. I think we lost on penalties, but we should have won it, you know, similar to when we played Arsenal. The last time we played Arsenal in the Community Shield, they were lucky that it went from the 90 minutes to penalties, I felt, for Arsenal, because they were gone. If it had went to extra time, Liverpool would have finished them. I think Taki scored in that game. We were trailing 1-0, but it's not the most important today. But I suppose it is nice to beat City and beat one of your rivals in a game that has some competitiveness about it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, no matter what happens today, someone is going to troll out some stat about the results not having any effect on the season. It doesn't matter what 11 you pick. As soon as that whistle goes, they'll look across and they'll know who they're playing. So competitive juices will always flow in these type of games. The only thing you want to make certain of is that you come out of this with no injuries. You know, we've got enough, so you don't want to be going down that road. But other than that, you've got Carvalho is going to get minutes today. And he's going to get a wake-up call about this is what it's like now. You know, you're not in the Championship anymore. You're not playing with Mitrovic around you and Harry Wilson, with all due respect to those players. You're playing against Man City for Liverpool with something on the line. And this is the level you're going to need to be at. Where I thought when he played the friendly the other night, there was some good glimpses, but he got bullied a bit. You know, so it's going to be, we're going to see a bit about where some of these players are. Where's Bobby at the minute? You know, is it a case that he likes the fact now with Sadio gone, Jota's injured, the responsibilities on him to be the senior pro. You know, I'm going to lead and I'm going to show Darwin the way and how to get the best out of playing with this side. I don't know how strong we go. Whether we go full tilt at it or whether Klopp mixes and matches. You're only allowed to make 6 subs. So 5 players are going to play 90 minutes. Adjan will be one of them. So it's 4 outfield players today will get their first 90 minutes. So they'll probably want to plan. Yeah, they'll probably want to plan the substitutions around. So, okay, you might not go full tilt, but you still want to have a strong finish to the game. So you might get
and
Bobby
we also
for
play
half,
tomorrow. We've also a friendly tomorrow, so it just shows what the club really thinks of this Community Shield. Are they not extremely bothered by it because there's a friendly again tomorrow with 2 games in 26 hours? You know, so it's
I was surprised that one wasn't moved on a couple of days. You know, maybe it could have been moved to Tuesday. I understand that there may be some new ticketing system that they want to trial. They want to try out the new pitch. They want to, you know, just get the staff at Anfield back into the routines again of, you know, full houses. This, you know, that side of it. I don't expect to see many senior players involved in that one. Many players who start today won't be involved in that. And like you said, we had 33 players away on pre-season. There is enough there to give the rest of the squad a good run and the backup as well. So I'm not too fussed about it. I wish they'd have played it on the Tuesday, you know, just to replicate that Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday type of stuff. But playing 2 games back-to-back just tells you that tomorrow night, anyone who goes to Anfield, you'll get to see Liverpool, but it's not going to be the Liverpool you know.
And there's still tickets on sale for it. If you go on the Liverpool website, whether you're a member or not, you can still get tickets. There's a lot left in the Kenny Dalglish stand, so it's probably not. It might sell out closer to it, but it's just really for people, that can get easy access to tickets, want to see the players before the season starts. Some might be away when the season starts and find it harder with the new ticketing system to get tickets, because obviously people have to be, the new season ticket members have to allocate friends and family. So it's not as easy now for just the fan that hasn't got access to any of those to go to games. I think Liverpool can be more protective of Darwin Núñez than City can be a Haaland. I think the goal and the target for Liverpool is to bed Núñez in. He's with us now since June. He came in, started off day one, a couple of days into pre-season, because he was obviously away with Uruguay on international duty. So same with Robbo Van Dijk. So some of them come back towards the end of the week, the first week of pre-season. And a player like him, a young player like him, he's going to need time to bed in. And I think that's the target, where City need Haaland. They need him from the get-go. He's only been involved in one of the friendlies against Bayern, played well, scored, they won 1-0, he got the decisive goal. Foden hasn't played much for him. I think he was injured. We know Laporta's out till September. They only brought 21 squad players away with them. You look at it, Kev, and you think City do need, I still think, a little bit of surgery there. You know, they've lost a couple of experienced goal scorers, players that were around when they were winning everything, obviously bar the Champions League that they haven't won. So we've seen, like, where do you stand on that? Do you think Núñez needs, like, he will be protected, and do you agree with what I'm saying with Núñez will definitely be more protected than Haaland, and we don't actually need Núñez ASAP now because already you look at the goals, the creativity, the threat that we have. I'm not so sure where he started. I think up front we'll go with Salah, Bobby and Diaz. I think up front today, and I think if Núñez only comes on for the last half an hour or possibly less, he might play a part tomorrow just to keep that rhythm and fluidity going. When I say tomorrow, maybe a couple of minutes tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to be much game time from today and tomorrow. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen, I think that would have been a very easy thing to do if Jota wasn't injured. You're going into the season now with 2 9s, and we're all assuming that Jota is only a week or so away, but I think the club has been very quiet on him. Alisson will be back, we know that, but he's, any new signing is going to want to put a marker down when they come in. They're going to want to try and get off the mark and show that, especially a big money signing, he's going to want to show that, look, I'm not just here to make up the numbers. I am worth the fee that they paid for me, and there's no better stage to do it than against the champions. So I agree with you. I think Bobby starts, and I think Bobby will probably start for the first maybe 3-4 weeks, maybe even more. But once we get into the flow of it, I expect them to be starting games and contributing. But you're right. The thing is with City, they got 19 senior players, right? 3 of them are goalkeepers. They've got 2 fullbacks. They've got 3 fit centre backs. They can't afford to mess about and pick up any more knocks. They're desperate now to get. This is why Brighton have held their ground on Cucurella. City are desperate now. For the first time I can remember, under Pep, they've left players go without replacing them first. They usually do this the other way around. They'll usually bring in their marquee signings and then let the people go who they want to let go. I think it's not just a little bit of surgery. I think they've got something big planned, and I mean a big marquee signing, because I don't think Haaland is a marquee signing for what they've left go. For the minutes that they got out of Raheem Sterling and the minutes they got out of Gabby Jesus, Haaland is not the answer to replacing those minutes. Julian
and he's not guaranteed either, Kev.
No, he's not.
They were look. No one was ever guaranteed, but when you look at the last couple of seasons, Sterling and Jesus always delivered. And in the big time, I know Pep and Sterling had a bit of a fall now, but then when he came back, he was scoring goals for fun. He was very, He was creative. He was getting assists. He was competitive. He was a handful, and he was in a way a dream for Pep, because if he didn't want to start him, but then when he needed them, he turned to him. He was gonna get the job done, what they needed. So after letting Fernandinho go as well as seeing Zinchenko.
There's
a lot of winners there in experience.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. And thing is, the other side of it is with Zinchenko. Zinchenko gave you flexibility that he could drop into midfield if need be. He could play at left back and he was competent, no problem. Fernandinho was around from the day dot there. He seems like he was there forever and a day. So, I mean, at 36, his legs were gone. But if you're playing against a side and you've got 20 minutes to go and you want to shut a game out, he would be your ideal player to give 20 minutes to, you know? And
absolutely.
That's a lot of minutes. Yeah, that's a lot of minutes that he's got to replace. And he's got a month left in the window. And you're seeing now with the likes of Brighton with Cucurella, especially Premier League players. Premier League clubs can afford to say no to City. Maybe your French clubs and your Spanish clubs, Italian, they might not be able to afford to hold on to players, but Premier League clubs can. You know, that if you're the likes of Brighton and someone comes in and offers you 30 million for a player that you deem worth 50, you can hold out. He's got 4 years left in his contract, and City are going to have to bite the bullet and pay the money for him, I think.
I think so. I think Brighton should hold off, because City, if they have the money, the finances are there, and we all want to see City, because they've done it before. We want to see them go above and beyond and pay more than what a player's worth, because you can't just come in this late in the window and decide we want to get him, and then Brighton just submit to them then and give it. I would like to see Brighton go all the way with this one. He possibly might go, as you said, if the money's right. The wages, the personal terms are great, but then does Cucurella want to go as well? Possibly, but then
he handed in a transfer request yesterday, so
I've seen that. I wasn't so sure whether he would have, but he did. So that's that he could be on his way out. And would he be a marquee signing?
No, I've got a feeling, and don't quote me on this. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything. I'm just a guy who rabbits shite on Twitter. But I'd watch Neymar. I'd watch the Neymar situation at PSG, because I wouldn't be a bit surprised if City want to make a statement, and he would be it for me. I just wonder if they would, you know, for all their talk about, you know, being a sustainable club and, you know, and this and that. I think there's not many marquee players out there that are available in the market at the minute. Ronaldo's one, you know, and I think Neymar is the only other one that you'd look at and you say, Bellingham could be, and Cuckoo could be, but I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if City went all in on Neymar. It's just a feeling. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I did see something a while ago about that. Going to a Premier League club. I don't know whether it was Newcastle, City might have been, but if they go in for Neymar, I don't think it does anything against those. I think he's more of a hindrance than a help, to be honest with you. But look, going to play with Pep in the Premier League, it's different. Pep would have more discipline, but then again, would he? Because I just think he's well overrated. I think he's a brilliant footballer and could potentially be one of the best in the world, but he's just more problems, and I think he just needs to get on with the game and do the right thing, show the right attitude, the discipline. You just don't get that with him. You know, he's big on social media. He's a bit of a Pogba type of player in that way. You know what I mean? And I don't know, Kev. Like, if they got him huge wages, but would it improve them? Like, I still think having Sterling or Jesus there, you're much better off than a Neymar or a Ronaldo. I personally think. And I don't think Ronaldo would go out to City after being at United, you know.
I don't think he cares, mate.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Archie Doolan throws an alright Daz and Kev. Can't wait to see the Reds on show to Deb, keeping a close eye on Diaz, and Cucurella will go, in my opinion, great player. Diaz, keep a close eye on him, had an unbelievable run with us when he came in January, hit the ground running, was quality, took Mane's position out on the left, and then Mane evolved as the number 9 for us, and he's just strong at the end of the season. Can't wait to see him a full pre-season under his belt. I think that's the beauty as well with Darwin Núñez. He's had a full pre-season now under his belt. We're going into today. Do you think? I don't think Harvey Davis. Obviously, the keeper Kelleher's going to be out for a few weeks. We know Alisson's out. Klopp did say yesterday on Thursday, the press conference, Alisson will be back for Fulham. So it leaves Adrian. We're not going to play.
He's actually had a decent. He's had a decent pre-season as well. To be fair to him, I've watched all the games. I've watched all the games bar one, and he's made some good saves. His distribution's been okay.
Very, very good saves from what I've seen him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been all right. And everyone's waiting for him to have his calamity. You know, nobody's different in that respect. But he's a competent keeper, you know, and he gets an awful lot of undue stick, especially for the roles that he has within the squad away from the pitch. And when he's called upon, he's done okay. He's had the odd mare, but who the hell doesn't? You know, your third choice keeper, you're going to have a Rick in you, but you know, there's a reason why he's not number one somewhere else.
Yeah, you see, you're not playing competitive games regularly, Kev, and even for a keeper, I know it's a little bit different and easier than an outfield player, but Klopp has him there. He's had him there for some time. He is his number 3 now. We can see because Kelleher come in, and obviously Alisson, they're well advanced in him and that. Yeah. He must have something about him. You know, he seems to have that harmony, that attitude, that passion, that commitment that you need. He's all those basics that we talk about basics, but then you have a player like we're just been discussing Neymar that wouldn't give you as much as Adrian would and that. So I was looking at a thing earlier from Pep Linders, and he was talking about the third phase of pre-season, going over to Salzburg, to the Alps in Austria, and how good it was. But that was all about building the unity, the harmony again in the team. And that, for me, since Klopp's day one come in the door, that's been Liverpool's biggest strength. It's been their biggest strength over the players they've had, anything. It's that harmony, that desire, that passion, that never give up, never say die. We've proven it so many times, so many examples of it. We're going to need that now going in this season, aren't we? Another big season, because every other team has improved. It looks like, obviously, we've improved as well. But as each year goes on, there's more questions being asked. There's more people expecting maybe you won't do as well this year because you've done it. Everyone's improving, I think. Well, probably not so much Chelsea and City this season, but they're going to be, like, if they have a good start to the season, who knows what they can do as well. You know, it's all a bit... We're predicting stuff at the moment, but we don't really know, do we, Kev? What can happen this season and who the surprise will be?
This is a crazy season for a multitude of reasons, and you can break the season up in 2 parts because nobody knows what condition players are going to be in when they come back from the World Cup. We don't know how. We're lucky in the fact that we have a lot of players who aren't going. You know, Virgil, if you go through it, Alisson will go. Trent will go. Virgil will go. I don't think Konate goes. Matip won't go. Robert doesn't go. Henderson will. Fabinho will. Thiago won't. Keita didn't qualify.
Yes, that's right. Elliott won't go. Jones won't go.
No. Salah doesn't go. Nunes doesn't go. Bobby might. I doubt it, though.
Might. Yeah, Diaz.
Diaz doesn't go.
Doesn't go, does he not?
No, they didn't.
Okay, right. And then some of those players, like when Trent goes, with the situation with him in England at the moment, he probably doesn't play much for England either, because of obviously Southgate's pragmatic approach. And I slay Southgate a lot. I think he manages the way he played. He's very too cautious in England. That's why he don't win.
He's a tournament manager, though. He's a tournament manager.
That's true.
You'll get through the
rounds. I think when it comes to Trent, he'll play very little football, and Henderson for England now, particularly with him getting that bit older. You know, he didn't play much at the last tournament. So, we're actually lucky. We're fairly lucky in that sense, you know.
I was going to say, that's why I think the first half of this season, if you can build a platform, the first half of the season, that's why I think the Ox injury is something that club have to address. Because if you can build a platform in the first half of the season, that really starts. Because I think if you can get ahead, we'll take an awful lot of clawing back, you know, and like we did when we won the title. If we get out ahead of City by, say, 5 or more points by the time the World Cup is on, I don't think they'll catch us. And I'll put my head in the chopping block and say I think I know the bookies will have City as favourites, But unless they do some dramatic stuff in the transfer window in the next month, I can see us winning the league. I'll be really disappointed if we don't.
You're talking there about Kev, and I agree with you. I going in this season, I think we're the best equipped. In my eyes, I think so. I think we're ready to go again. When we lost the Community Shield a couple of years ago to City, Klopp made the players look at them, lift it and stuff like that. And that's all mentality. And I think it was the same against Arsenal when we lost it. And look, we talk about, I want to move away from the Community Shield because for me, it's a competitive friendly. Yeah. The only reason why we want to win today is because it's against City, and it's because it's great to just see at the end of Klopp's career to see him with all the trophies for me. Yeah. And then you see the thing at Anfield, the Wall of Champions, which has become very iconic since Klopp has come in. Just the social media day where they add something to that is always a little bit of hype around, and it's just a bit of humour and a bit of crack and banter, really. That's the only reason why I want to see today. I'm not looking at today to have any bearing whatsoever, even a small percentage on the season, because I just think after today, Strasbourg tomorrow, and then Monday morning, it's back at the AXA Training Centre, and then it's all eyes and the game faces then more serious for the season ahead. You start seeing players then going out on loan, different stuff, players back in doing that 23. So I think you mentioned there about the Ox, Kev. Could be a good thing if we went in for someone that Ox's injury, because if Ox is fit, how much football does he play? Because last season there was games, particularly the Southampton Villa game towards the end, we had a lot of games, a lot of changes in the team, and he didn't play, and some he doesn't come on for, and that to me said he's no future ahead. So I'm a little bit surprised that he's still around, unless he's been chatting obviously with Klopp and Pep Linders and stuff like that and the fitness staff, and they're expecting much more demands and bigger things from this season with some agreement, because all this goes on, we know all this kind of psychological part of the game, and a lot goes on that we don't even know or see, obviously, unless something like that happened, because I expected he was going to go and probably for as little as £8-10 million even we're going to accept. Oh, yeah. But there's two players on the radar, Anthony from Ajax, the winger, and Nunes from Sporting, both very, very good, both young. Tell me a bit about that, because I know you were talking off air there about Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony's a special player. Look, Manchester United have been chasing him for a while, and Ten Hag knows him inside out. He knows exactly what he can bring. They were quoted a Manchester United price of 71 million. Now, that's all the money for him with VAT on top. You know what I mean? I think that's over what he's worth. But then they were quoted another price because they've left it late. And Ajax are in a position at the minute, after selling who they've sold, they don't need to sell now, which is a bloody shame, because they've sold Martinez, they've sold Gravenberch. They're in a position at the minute where they don't need to sell anyone. And it's probably the most difficult position for us to fill. Ox was, this hamstring injury is going to keep him until January. The club will say October, but the World Cup is in November. So, you're talking, this is half a season he's going to miss. And when he's available to cover the right side of midfield in a 3, but more so, he's available to cover Mo, if you wanted to give Mo 20 minutes rest here and there. So, to me, it's definitely the most difficult position for us to fill on a pitch, full stop. Mateus Nunes is a really good player. Really, really like him. I think if you were to have a love child between João Moutinho and Ruben Neves, you come out with him. You come out with him. He's a hell of a player. Again, 50 million for him is all the money. But I think if we were going to get him, we'd have got him early. I honestly believe that if someone else comes in with a bid like similar to Diaz, if someone serious comes in and tries to get him, I think we might move for him. Yeah. But I think if we wanted him, I think we'd have got him early in the window and given the best chance because of having a full preseason. I think the club are financially in a really good spot. We know who we want to shift out. We've known for a while, these decisions, transfer decisions aren't done on the hoof. They're not done in the back of a fag paper with a week's notice. This kind of stuff is weeks and months in the planning. But Klopp left himself an out when he said that we were done in the summer. He said, unless a player gets a major injury or someone wants to leave. And I'm with you. I was amazed that while he was fit, that he didn't look at Jesse Lingard and look at, what he did at West Ham. Ox could, when he's fit and available, could do a job for probably 60% of the sides in the league. And he could go on and have a good second half of his career. He's still a young man, relatively speaking. It just feels like, because he broke through at 16 years of age, that he's been around forever and a day. So
late 20s. Is he 27?
Exactly. He's 27 or 28. So it's like he almost needs what happened to Joel Matip, a complete reset of his body and a fresh challenge with not so much strain on his body and regular football. He needs regular football to get match fit. I watch a lot of cricket, and I listen to a lot of interviews with older fast bowlers, and they'd always say they never trained, they played, and they did their training when they played. Ox needs that. He needs match fitness, not gym fitness. It's a case.
It's too much strain on the body.
I'm not saying, Ravi. Ravi has put a comment there. I'm not saying Lingard is good enough for Liverpool. We obviously know that. But Jesse Lingard is good enough for Nottingham Forest. Jesse Lingard is good enough for
West Ham,
Southampton, Leicester. Ox could do a job for those type of clubs. But it's just this injury is on top of his knee problem. The last thing you need in a player is this looks like it's a serious injury.
He's never come back, Kev, to anywhere near what he was, I don't think, since Roma 2018. That's 4 years ago, and he's showed great attitude, desire to come back playing after that. It was a year later, Huddersfield, we beat 6-0. He makes his debut back after a year, comes back, plays bits and pieces of football. But the thing with Liverpool is we brought in so many players, and he's had so much competition. And then you'd obviously the pandemic and stuff like that. And then he was injured, come back train. He's just carried too many injuries. And I do feel for him, to be honest with you, because I think if you have a fully fit Ox who doesn't get injuries for a full season, from August to the end of the season, has one or two little knocks in between and miss a game here and there, you can rest him and so on. He's not going to start every game. I think you have a very, very good option there. Very dynamic player as well.
Yeah.
And we can see the confidence and the belief, and he gets on great. He's great harmony in the team. The lads love him there, like Milner, Henderson, Robbo, Trent. All these lads gone great with him. He's popular there, but it's gone so far now that you just feel, is it going to work? Let's be realistic. No, you want it to work, but is it? I don't see it. And like you said, he's going to miss half of this season. Could even be more. Who knows? And then when he comes back, what's he going to be like? And players come back in October. Like, it looks like now he's not going to play for us till possibly December onwards, because if he comes back in October, Kev, unless we're shredded with injuries, is he going to come in? Is he going to play much football? Minutes here and there, that's it. And then if the World Cup, I think when that World Cup break goes on at 6 weeks, some of the players that don't go on obviously will train. I'm sure Liverpool will travel away again, a few pre-seasons and that again. That's a chance then for him to reset and go again. But we've been here, we're going around in circles all the time.
Around the houses. And
I'm not so sure.
Yeah, for me, while you've got the opportunity and the window's open, he left himself that out for a reason. Like I said, the club is in a good spot money-wise. We're not in a positive spend or a massive negative spend. We can go and get that. I was chatting to Chris earlier on today, and Chris Brack turned around and he made a brilliant comment. Which he has those
Chris has good moments. He
has that moment in him. But he was listening to something, and someone compared Klopp to Wenger, and what Arsenal had at Arsenal at the time was a David Dean. A David Dean to turn around to Arsene Wenger and say, "Look, if you want the player, get the player. Don't worry about the fee. Don't worry about this and that. We'll worry about that. We'll just get the player." It seems to me like Klopp is looking at the squad and the squad harmony and not wanting to disrupt it too much, which I completely understand.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Sometimes he needs someone at the club to be able to say, if you want him, get him. Don't worry about it. And I think the club have to do something. The club have to do something the next month, because if you don't, it could really hurt you.
We've another 4 weeks, Kev. It's still a long time left in the window. You look at other teams like Chelsea have struggled. United, to a certain extent, have definitely struggled as well. When you compare the end of May, when we all left kind of football, the Champions League, it was behind us. We said we look forward to the summer. You would have thought 8 weeks later, today, the end of July, we're back on it here, that the likes of Chelsea, United would have done better business. Arsenal have done a bit of business. They've lost players, but we'll see how good they are when it goes. It looks like Spurs have massively strengthened, but how good are these players going to be? Will they fit into the system? What are they going to do? Because Spurs, for me, they've always let you down, but they've the right manager in now. They seem to have the right players. They had a really good end towards last season, got in the top 4. Things are looking positive there. But are they going to beat the elite and challenge the likes of Liverpool City? Like, Liverpool City score goals for fun. They scored 94 and 99 goals last season. They were just miles ahead. Like, I think Chelsea were third and got 76 goals, which was well off what we scored. And there was games where Liverpool and City could have scored a lot more and probably should have. But it's Liverpool and City for me this season again. But going in now, I think it's Liverpool. And that's only speaking now. Things can change with injuries, and you need a lot of luck as well, Kev. Like, people talk about last season to me and say, City won it in the end. They won one of the big honours, and Liverpool, he's won two of the big cups that you can be involved in. But you'd rather win the league. And of course you would have. But City were 14 points clear. Liverpool were losing players to African Cup of Nations. We played a lot more games than them. In a way, you could say nearly City, like, they couldn't lose it from where they were. And like 10 years ago, City were winning league titles. So Liverpool weren't even in the running I mentioned. As consistency, City had all the money. So for me, when you compare Liverpool to City, you'd nearly say things are better at Liverpool. And they two friendly City throughout the summer have lost a couple of experienced good players. Unless they bring in a marquee signing or do something good or get a lot of luck or something drastic happens, I'm not so sure whether they're gonna be the team that they were. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised because I can't believe that Guardiola has let it kind of go that way either. Because you'll see more of Grealish and these players and that, but like consistently,
there's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
There's a lot of games. Like, I mean, Ravi's asking a question there. How do you stop City's attacks?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know how City are going to play this season. And I don't believe that I think Erling Haaland will score goals. But I think that definitely happen. Yeah, but I don't believe that Erling Haaland can do the link-up play that the City forwards were doing last year consistently enough. Yeah. And I don't think his body can do it consistently enough. I don't know how City are going to attack sides. Are they going to be the patient Man City who try to dictate play, dictate possession, or are they going to get the ball out wide, whipping crosses, or try to create tap-ins? I don't know. That's the intriguing thing about today, is because they've only played the 2 preseason games, and you look at who they've lost. The dynamic of the players that they've lost compared to the dynamic of the players that they've brought in are completely chalk and cheese. They're completely different players. Absolutely. Julian Alvarez is an attacking striker who gets in behind. He's quick, he's nippy, he's a really good prospect, but you're asking him to replicate what Gabriel Jesus did and knew that system inside out for a good period of time.
Because Jesus would go missing for games and then come back and score 2-3 goals. He coached 10 games without playing.
Exactly. And the other side of it is, when you've got a volume of games, the Champions League this season is 6 games, and it's 6 games back-to-back. There's no breaks, so it's going to be, when the Champions League draw happens and the games start in earnest, it's going to be non-stop. The football there's going to be no let-up. And I think the squads with the numbers in the depth will be the ones who show better as the season goes on. I mean, the thing is with Chelsea, I think Chelsea have the know-how to get into the top 4, where Spurs got top 4 last season by default. Arsenal completely bottled it.
Absolutely.
You know,
I think it's dismantled.
Yeah, they've bought well, but I think they've bought to consolidate a top 4 finish. You know, yeah, they'll be hard to beat, they'll be hard to play against, but the volume of games that they had last year compared to this year are going to be completely different. And Conte runs the life out of these players. So we'll see what they're like towards the second half of the season. They'll have a good start to the season. I've no doubt about that. It's in the second half of the season, we'll see what they're like.
No, we agree. And they brought in so many players that they're all going to have to bed in. It's a new system. It's everything is new there to Spurs, the new manager. But I still expect Spurs to be very competitive, as you said, and be good. But it's a strange going in the start of the season. I think it's very strange. But I think as long as we get a good start, get the bit of luck that you always need, I think we'll be all right. Obviously, the remaining question is with the whole thing with Ox, who we bring in, and you know, there's different players we're linked with. Aiden91 throws in a comment there. They will need Grealish to kick on this season. My worry is that with Haaland, Foden will play in midfield where he's more effective. Foden might be, he hasn't played much either in pre-season. I know he's had a little bit of trouble outside of football with different things, but he's a quality player, world class, no doubt about it. And look, City are world class, and they're going to be the team as well to beat this season. I've no doubt about it. But it's a good point what you're saying, Kev, because there's so much football consistently, and it's going to be who's the best squad, but also who's the stomach for it. You know, you can have an unbelievable squad, you can have like-for-like players, but you got to have the stomach for it, and teams are going to be more competitive this season. We've seen City in the past winning games just before they went on the pitch in the tunnel, you know, by who you're looking at, who's in the team. If teams are more competitive to City, I think it's going to be, we're in for a true game season. I really do think so. And I thought last season was unbelievable, and how we came back and fight, the attitude. What I thought about that squad harmony, that attitude, was phenomenal from us. And to only lose about the last 15 minutes of the season, we were all gutted because of the way it happened. But
the only saving grace for me the only saving grace for me in last season is we were never ahead.
Yes, we were miles behind.
It would have killed me. It would have killed me if we'd have got ahead.
Yeah,
if we'd have got ahead points wise, even in that last game, it would have broke me. I'd have been. I mean, the fact that we pushed them all the way. I mean, I think for me, the title was decided when we didn't beat them at the Etihad. That was the one that we had to get ahead, because I think if we'd have got ahead, we'd have stayed ahead. But it's just one of those. Look, I mean, I think for me last season, to be involved competitively in every single game, all the way through the season, shows the squad where it is. I think the squad is in a really good spot, and they've got the right mix. We've got a good mix of youth and experience, and there's no reason why we can't go again. But like you said, we need Diaz. Someone was saying earlier on, he's looking forward to seeing Diaz. Diaz has to chip in with some end product as well. You know, on the ball, he's brilliant, but today he's going to have a stiff test if Kyle Walker's playing at right back. Kyle Walker is, he is what he is.
Very experienced, very tough defender.
Yeah, very quick. So Diaz is going to have to work for anything that he does get out of it. But that's what you want. I want to see him getting into the box. I want to see him score more. But he has to. The thing is, Sadio Mane would chip in with 15 to 25 goals, in between 15 and 25 in a season in all comps. Yeah. You know, Bobby will chip in with 10 to 15 in all comps. Jota is good for 20. These are the kind of numbers that these players have to replicate. So Nunes, while we talked earlier on about having a blooding in period, by May, he will have to have contributed at least 20 goals in all comps this season to justify the price tag, and for us to be competitive.
I seen the game against Leipzig, right? So I watched very little of pre-season, Kev. I watched some of the stuff on YouTube, and I kind of took a break in the football. I was working, other stuff going on. So I only watched here and there games, and I seen the game against Leipzig, because I'm never a big fan anyway of pre-season. I remember often Liverpool done great in pre-season, looked unbelievable, brought in some great players, and then were just rubbish in the season, But it hasn't really happened since Klopp came in, to be fair. But Leipzig, he scores 2 goals in 6 minutes. and then I watch a little bit of it, and then he gets another 2. Now, look, the goals, none of them were phenomenal. The keeper's poured, and the penalty just about scores. But he needed that because Nunes was like, and I'm looking at social media and I'm saying, this lad has played just under an hour of football. He's playing in pre-seasons where you go out, you take risks, you take chances, formations tried, you do stuff that you can't do when a ball gets competitively kicked. Like, it's not about the results, and it's not about who's scoring, really. Like, if Darwin Nunes gets a winning goal at Craven Cottage next week, that's what you talk about. It's not about what he done against Leipzig at friendly. So it's just a lot of hatred towards him. And then there's people sprouting out, he was 100 million. He was 60 odd million, and that is paid over. I think that's with add-ons and with goals. But you have to remember, the club get more money when he scores in the Champions League, when he does other stuff. So they're not actually losing it. And so I think the full amount is like just under 70 million what they pay for Nunes. But it's just typical of social media and the hate for it. And, it can be great sometimes, but then it can be a pawn to others. But
I just say one thing, right?
Yeah.
Our fan base, right? Now, look, people can support the club however the hell they want. It doesn't affect me either way. I have never seen a fan base look to tear strips out of their own squad, like ours do, and they go from player to player to be the next bunny, and it's ridiculous. It's childish. I see it with Curtis Jones. I see it with Firmino. You see it with pretty much the vast majority. Tsimikas, Robertson. You've seen it over the years with so many players. It's nonsense. This squad gave you a chance of a quad. They've given you a Champions League. They've given you a title. They've given you an FA Cup and a League Cup, and we're now in a Charity Shield. Giving you a Club World Cup. What the hell do you want? Realize that, look, it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always this good. So just embrace it while we have it, because it can go. Look at Manchester United, great club. And look, take your Liverpool hat off for a second.
Yeah,
Manchester
absolutely.
United are a juggernaut. They're one of the biggest clubs in world football, and they are miles off it. Miles, and Arsenal, another one. These clubs are huge, huge institutions, and they're miles off it. Football goes in cycles, and they'll both come again. So when we've got it this good, just embrace it and enjoy it for what it is. Players read social media. Darwin Nunes, I know for a fact, you can see it in the relief that was in his face. He will have, and if he isn't seeing it, people around him are seeing it. So before people press send on stupid comments and instant gratification for likes, just ask yourself, is it worth it? Go and take it, have an hour, and then decide. It's just a bugbear of mine. It really boils me to a point. But look, people can support the club however the hell they want. But I just don't get this mentality of needing to feel entitled to tear strips off players when something doesn't quite go right in a preseason game. It's just weird.
Yeah, and
anyway,
it's pre-season. It's pre-season. It's a friendly, and it's the results are never anything. In some ways, you nearly want results. Not don't say to lose, but you don't want results going too good, because then you feel like as if everyone thinks, the results are great, so there's big expectations. You sometimes need a reality check, and you need like players to wake up that bit more and to get the mistakes out of the system, and to get the kind of the flicks and skills that you don't want them doing, and conceding goals or doing that and too stupid when the season starts. You just want it to happen in pre-season, and like anyone that's played football, even when you play pre-season for club, that's what it's about. That's what you're told. It's just don't get any injuries. Come back day one, the week of where you're going to be training, back fit, forward and ready for the season, and then you can be selected, and then the manager obviously makes decisions and options of who is. Unfortunately for those, we've a couple of injuries, and today starts with it. Kev, who's your starting 11 today? We know Adam's out, Jotte's out, Ramsey's out, Tsimikas possibly. Nothing major for a once-off game today, I don't think. But who is your 11 today?
I wrote it down last night. I haven't changed my mind. Adrian will start and goal. Trent, Matip, Virgil, Robbo. Fabinho, Thiago, and Elliot. And Salah, Bobby, and Diaz. And the only reason I went for Elliott over Henderson, because I think Henderson would start against Fulham, is I think when he wants to make the changes in the second half, that he'll have an experienced head to bring on to guide the younger lads through the last 30 minutes of a game. If he wants to give that 11, 60 minutes, then there's enough youth coming off the bench in the likes of Carvalho and what have you. You need some experience to be able to manage the game. You're not playing against Muppets, like you're playing against a really top quality side. So, but if it was Fulham, I'd be starting Henderson over Elliott. But I think it's the one thing I noticed in pre-season when Jordan's come off the bench, the intensity level goes up a notch. The passing becomes quicker and sharper, and I just think that people sleep on him for how good he is around, for the influence that he has on the 11 that plays, and I think that's grown in the last 2 years really. But it just gets slept on because it's Jordan Henderson. If it was Thiago doing the same thing, raising the intensity of games and raising players around them to be sharper in the tackle and what have you, it'd be loaded. But because it's Henderson doing it, it's just Jordan, isn't it? But that's the 11 I'd go with, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Bobby only got a half and Darwin got the second half with the majority of that 11. To give him 15 minutes with the bulk of that 11 and then make the changes on the hour.
I had the exact same teams as Kev, only that I had Henderson in for Elliott, and that was only because he came on during the night. He was one to come on, and with a game that's a little bit more, it's slightly more important than a friendly because it's a chance against City and it's just to win something. Look, the players will want to win it. There's no doubt about it. They'll always want to be City, but they're also going to know, look, there's a lot of games ahead. There's a lot of must-wins ahead. Kind of enjoy these while not must-wins as well, and let's, do different stuff as well, and let's kind of take chances and risks we normally wouldn't.
I know. Look, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be, it's going to be a spectacle every which way. And the fact that I was doing this all last night. It's the King Park. I was calling it Filbert Street all night last night. Filbert Street and the Charity Shield. Showing me age. You don't need to see the grey. If you're listening to it on an audio, trust me. It's Filbert Street and the Charity Shield for my age, for my genre anyway. But it's a 30,000 capacity, and the people who are going to be there are the ones, they'll be loud, they'll be vocal. It'll be a bit of an intense atmosphere. So it should be a good game.
3 games against City last season. They didn't beat us. 2 draws in the league, 2 all cracking games. And then we beat them. We annihilated them, really, didn't we, at Wembley in that semis? I know 3-2 wasn't a fair judgment how the game went. We could have been well ahead, but the atmosphere, we were 2-0 up after 20 minutes, and the atmosphere, it was like we'd won it. I remember, I think it was Martin Keown was in commentary on BBC saying it's just Bethlehem. Like, it was mad, the Liverpool end, and it was great to see. And it's just great to have been toe-to-toe with an unbelievable team like City. The 2 best teams in world football for me, Liverpool and City. Obviously, Madrid, Bayern are all up there.
Exactly.
I just put Liverpool and City over. If you have a league and you'd all them in it, I think that they come out best over the 38 games. But there's not a lot in between them, to be honest. But I think for Liverpool, it was just incredible to beat them at Wembley, and you seen City were devastated. They were at the end of it. And Pep, because he hates losing to Klopp, and Klopp hates losing. Great respect 100%. Between them. Well, you'll see there's both of them today. Whenever they lose, you have to be smiling and cracking a joke because it's a community shield, a curtain raiser. It's a charity shield event. There won't be, they're not going to be too bothered, but they will a little bit because they're winners, and winning's a habit. It really is. And to Liverpool, I know in the 70s, 80s, when they won this a few times, they wanted to win it. It was a little bit more, it meant more than it does now, really. And so did the other competitions, because now, Kev, the money and what owners of clubs, when they come in, want is win the league and Champions League. They're the big ones, what they want. And finishing in 4th place is better. You've seen at Liverpool that Kenny Dalglish, a legend, comes back at a club at a time where we were struggling, and I think it was 2011-12 season, and he wins the League Cup, gets to an FA Cup final, and narrowly loses to City, who went on to Chelsea. I think they won the Champions League and FA Cup that season under Di Matteo, and he finishes, I think might have been 8th in the league. If Wenger didn't win it for a few years, but got Arsenal in the top 4, and he kept his job, because getting Champions League football is a big money spin on it. It's just as massive as it is winning trophies. But it was just great for us to have won those domestic cups. That Klopp, the one season he does take them serious and got a bit of stick over, wins. And as fans, you want to see our club winning cups, but you also want to see our club being competitive and getting Champions League football every year, because we all cared about the financial side of it. There's no doubt about it. Of course we do. I know it's not earning money, but we do. And the model Liverpool have at the moment, that this seems to be perfect on the pitch and off the pitch, and the longevity and the finances of the club is something we all cared about, because we want the club to be around after Klopp and FSG,
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, Arsenal would bite your hand off for those days where they were guaranteed top 4, because what it does, and you're seeing it with, in fairness, you're seeing it with Manchester United. The ability to attract a player now is Champions League matters so much more than it ever used to. You used to be able to get away with it if you were out of it for a year and you were a big club, because you're going to be back in it next time around. But the truth is now, the top 6 is a legitimate thing now. There's 4 spots. I think Liverpool and City are ahead, but I think the gap between 3rd and 7th this season will be anyone's race, and anything could happen to derail or to push aside from 7th into a top 4. It won't take much. A couple of key injuries here and there, or form at the right size, taking points off each other, that kind of thing. This season, I think, more than anything, because there's every squad has a negative in it. There's no one dominant squad. So it's going to be one of those crazy seasons, I think, where you're just going to have to try to churn out points. It's going to be 2-0s, 2-1s, 1-0s. It's going to be one of those seasons where it's just get the result and move. Get the result and move. There's not going to be any time to sit and dwell on negativity.
No, there's not.
This season more than anything. Yeah, this season more than any other. You're just not going to have time to dawdle around. And today is a great place to start. That if you can hit the ground running with a solid performance, get a win, great. But it's almost a case today, the performance matters more. If we play well, score goal. And the thing is, I think there's goals in this game. I think it wouldn't surprise me if this is a 3-2. There is goals in both sides, and it's one of those that I think it can really stand you in good stead. It won't make a blind bit of difference when we play City in the league. But it does lay a marker down for other sides to put yourself in that position where you're in the dressing room. So, they've just steamrolled the champions, or, they've just folded to Man City, God forbid. Liverpool are there for the taking. It gives sides an extra 5% of a lift. Or it could really knock them back, So from that side of it, it's one of those things that you want at 7:15 tonight to be talking about positives from the game. Be that a result, a performance, a player, whatever it is. I just think Archie, I do. I genuinely think there's goals in this game. Because
Archie Doolan. I think so too. Like in the past, Arsenal, City, when we played them in days, there was very little goals in them. But I do think, Kevin, it might be something similar to that FA Cup semi, because I think City won't have the strongest team out today. I think it'll be Laporte. Stones hasn't even played in pre-season, so we'll see. But it's look, there's going to be great respect between the two teams in this rivalry. That there always has been, and it's go out today.
Teams will be out soon.
We've a terrific spine going into the start of the season. That spine of the team wins you so much, and we've an unbelievable spine. And obviously then the players around that spine, from the keeper, centre back, centre mids, the options, the goals we have. You know, Salah, Diaz, Carvalho coming in, who looks an unbelievable prospect. I'm excited to see him this season. I'm not going to put pressure on him because I do think he's going to need a bit of bedding in as well. But I'm excited to see he's just quick, he's creative. Coutinho kind of type of player reminds me similar of, but
he glides with the ball. I don't think he's the quickest over the ground, but I think he's quick. I think he's quick with the ball at his feet. You know, and he's one of those players. I think when he's got the ball at his feet and he's running at you, he's difficult to dispossess because he's got those quick feet. I think he'll attract a lot of fouls.
He'll win a lot of fouls. Yeah, he will, and that could be key because, you know, and I think this season a big issue will be for us improving the corners and on the set pieces as well, because that's something frustrated me a little bit in the past. I think, and that's something they seem to have worked on in pre-season. So, yeah, another season, Kev. What's your score predictions? We'll end her at that. We'll just get over the hour now on today's game. I was going to say big game, but it's not. We have much bigger games this season against of lesser opposition, to be fair, you know.
100%. Look, I would go for a 3-2 win. I think Salah gets off the mark. I think Diaz scores. Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if Virgil scores. I think we're due a set piece goal. And look, it's the one thing with our centre backs, with their size and ability in the air and the quality that we deliver from set piece, we should be getting, you know, if you look at your 4 centre backs, you should be looking to get 15 goals out of those 4 over the course of a season. And you know, and I don't think that's unrealistic. That Virgil is a massive power, and the other side of it is Virgil attracts players to allow the likes of Fabinho to attack a ball, Nunes to attack a ball. Henderson is 6 foot as well, so you know we have the size. Yeah, we have the size to be able to get at sides in. So yeah, that's what I go with. I think, but at the same token, I think I'm interested to see how City play. You know, I'm interested to see how Pep fits fits Haaland into their 11. Does he go with 2 up top and play 4-4-2? He's flirted with that before, so
he has. It's a good point.
In half an hour, we'll find out. You know, the teams will be out at 4 o'clock. So
4 o'clock, I just see him there. As you just said, it's come up here now. 4 o'clock teams will be out. Look, we'll know more then, but I think we possibly might go that little bit stronger. We seem to be just that little bit more ahead in pre-season, but just because you are doesn't mean we're entitled to get a result or whatever. It will be a difficult game, but
what do you go for then?
I'm going to go for 2-1. I said it earlier on the week. I think 2-1. But it could be anything. Could be 4-3. I agree with you, Kev. I think there'll be goals in it. I'm going to go for Salah and Diaz to score. I'm like you. Yeah. Nice. I think Salah's staying was like a new sign, and I just think he needed that reassurance. I think the disappointment with Egypt as well through the season played a big impact on him, and just the negativity of will he, won't he. And at least now when Salah plays this season, or if he scores today, when he scores, there's not the speculation of who the Liverpool replace. These are the goals they're going to miss. There's so much negativity would have come going into this season with Salah not signing that contract. It's massive. And what a player he is. I mean, the last 5 seasons, 30-odd goals, late 20s in the league every year, phenomenal. And that just, like, last season, he scored 30-odd goals last season, and the last 6 months, he was nowhere near that, I didn't think. No. You know, big games he wasn't, to be fair.
I'll tell you what, in January last year, before he went to AFCON, I was on the Trippers on a Sunday night and a back 4, and I said that if he carries this on, he'll better his record. He was on target to hit over 40 goals, you know, to break his first season. That was the kind of form he was in. And when the bits that I've watched of him in pre-season, he looks sharp. He looks happy. He's a smile on his face, and he's enjoying himself. You know, so, and I think he's enjoying that role now. The best thing about it, when he fired the ball at Nunes, you take the penalty. That's what a leader and a dressing room captain, you know, a dressing room leader does. Is like he knows the squad situation. It's not all about me, myself, and I. It's we, us, and together.
Yeah,
So
and that minimises the friendlies as well, Kev, where you can do the like that, innit? When the league season starts, and we're into it, last season, we wanted to see Jones, we wanted to see some of Keita and Elliott, but you can't take risks because every game's a must-win. And for us, we too many must-wins at the end of the season. We only had one draw against Spurs, and it just wasn't enough. And that just shows you where we were at. We would just, this season, enjoy it. Football's about entertainment, enjoying it. I want to enjoy it because at the end of the season, I don't think any of us enjoyed it as much. But you're supposed to. This is the best of the club. You're in Champions League. You're going deep in the Premier League. This is watched all over the world, the best and most competitive league. At one stage it wasn't. Now it definitely is in the last few years. And we all should enjoy it, but it's very hard to when team selections are not the way you expected, and it goes in a little bit of it. You can't, but
last season, I was so ready to put football in the bin. At the end of last season, I was so sick of it. It took me about 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, I sat there. There's nothing on. Okay, there's nothing. There's no World Cup. There's no summer football. I'm starting to miss it a bit now.
I was in Cyprus after the season, a week after the final, week and a half after the Champions League final, and you couldn't stay away from football. I wanted to break me, but the news of Darwin Núñez, and then it became more real, and you just can't. It's a drug, isn't it? You can't stay away. So it's phenomenal.
If you can't enjoy it, then what's the bloody point?
You have to enjoy it. That's the thing. Yeah, you need to enjoy it. And hopefully this season we can enjoy it. And I'll enjoy it today, regardless of what happens. Just enjoy it. They're back. It's competitive to some extent. And it's good to see Liverpool back again. As long as Klopp is here, the Messiah, things will be good. That's the thing to take in. Kev, pleasure having you today, bro. You're back on the Daytrippers tomorrow. You're more likely will.
Back on today. Back on we're doing myself and Chris are doing a post-match reaction at 7:30. And tomorrow night there'll be a show at 10:00 tomorrow night, and loads of content coming up over the season with a few new shows thrown in. So it's all good.
Kev, that's great. Great to have you on, Kev. It's unbelievable, and obviously your humour as well, which is important. Afternoon, lads. Chris comes in late when we're going. Big up to Chris.
Sorry, Chris. We're going now. See you, mate.
I'll tune in to you at 7:30. Hopefully, I'll tune in with a drink and celebrating rather than saying it's a nothing game. Pleasure. Kev, absolutely, bro. I'll catch you soon. And thanks to everybody that tuned in, left in the comments. There's a couple in today. Take care, all. And missed the call, Dazella. Yeah, you did. Yeah, the phone on silent, Chris. But have a good one. Take care, all. And I'll be back soon. I don't know when. Be back soon with some content. Just with work, everything's busy at the moment. But definitely be doing a bit more content here this week. And tune in to Kev later on the LFC Daytrippers at 7:30. After the game, and then tomorrow, obviously the big one on a Sunday night at 10:00, where the likes of Shawnee just be on, Keith and Gaff and the rest of them. Take care, all. Have a good evening, and come on the Reds.